Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my most humble pranams at Bhagawan's lotus feet. Dear Swami, respected elders, dear brothers and sisters. It was Mahatma Gandhi who said that there is enough in the world for every man's need, but there isn't enough even for one man's greed. Today, we find the deep significance and impact of this sentence more and more. If we look at all the newspaper articles and magazine articles in the 1980s, people speak about how the world is heading towards a disaster and how it is high time that some action be taken to stem that progress towards disaster. And then we come to the 1990s and they say that 1980s was fine. 1990s is the most problematic years. Then you come to 2004, 2005. Again the tone changes saying that those were fine. These problems are severe. And today now in 2015 we feel that 1980s was a beautiful time. There were no problems at all. You have no idea of the kind of problems we are in today. And literally, because I'm part of a team that does radio satsangs and therefore we keep updating ourselves on current scenario. And if we see environmentally and societally, in terms of society and in terms of the environment, it's very, very bleak. Things look very bleak. For instance, I was just seeing, when we go back to the times when caveman evolved, when man started living in societies, the amount of water that each individual consumed was something like 10 liters, 8 to 10 liters. That's all it was. Each person just drank about 2 liters or 2.5 liters and used little more water for, because bathing and all that was not part of the daily schedule in the caveman days. Today, the United Nations says that the minimum water necessary for survival per capita, per individual, is 20 liters. So already you can see it has doubled. It was 10 liters and UN says 20 liters. But God has given enough, He says no problem. Even if you take 200 liters per head, it's fine. Today, the average global consumption per capita is 2,400 liters. 2,400 liters per head. If we take the total population multiplied with 2,400, that is the liters of water that we are using around the world. And then, I'm not singling out a particular country, I will give other examples also. But if we pick United States of America, United States of America has a per capita consumption of 7,200 liters. And are they happy? No. We need more growth, more progress, more development. Where will it come from? If we see steel production is very important because it denotes a development index of a nation. It also denotes how much water is being consumed because steel is often used in construction where concrete is also used, and concrete is the fastest way of locking up water forever. Whatever water we put into concrete, it is set in concrete forever. You'll never get back that water. It's there as long as that building stands. And while in a country like India, which is rapidly developing, the per capita steel production is something like 57 kilos per person. In US, it's about 250 kilos. In China, it's like 400 kilos, 400 kilograms of steel per person. So leave aside American. Is China happy? Is China happy, content and feeling, wow, we have done great? No. The Chinese are not happy. Now that's on the man-made societal front. If we go to the environment, I'm just picking up one or two examples just to, highlight that the problem when we say has grown severe and intense, it's not doubling, tripling. It's like multiplied 10,000 times, nearly 1,000,000 times. Cod is a kind of fish that migrate from the oceans to the rivers. They swim upstream. It's a very, very rare and beautiful phenomenon. Salmon and cod, they don't forget the route. From the river, as they grow up, they go to the ocean. That's easy. You just have to go with the flow. Going against the flow is difficult. But for breeding, they come back because the young ones need to grow in fresh water. So they swim against the flow. And there are some beautiful National Geographic videos where you can see these cod jumping up 3 meters in the air to go from the bottom to the top of a waterfall. Because they have to swim back to the origins of the river. And it's a very perilous journey. More than half of them die along the way. They're eaten by predators. They form an important link in the food chain. Grizzly bears, so many animals eat these cod. And it was a beautiful, harmonious balance. That's why these cod are produced in millions, so that they can feed everything along the way. And that is when man decided to eat cod. In 1990, they were almost extinct. There was no cod going upstream. They had to put legal rules and they put bans and prohibitions, shoot at sight. That is how to some extent it has come up. Blue whales. In 1900, there were 275,000 blue whales in the world. 90 years later, there are 5,000 left in 1994, and that number is fast dwindling even today. The minute man sets into something, it's gone. Recently, this is not a recent phenomenon, but I got to know of it recently. It is being touted as possibly the greatest environmental disaster. Not Chernobyl nuclear power plant reactor exploding, not such man-made disasters. This is a man-made disaster of another kind. In Russia, there is something called the Aral Sea. How I came across Aral Sea was very, very interesting. Somebody asked me a question. Why is it that no admirals are inducted into the Swiss Navy? So I was wondering why. He said because Switzerland doesn't have a navy. And he said many of the landlocked countries need not have a navy. So I was thinking, is it so? Is there any landlocked country which has a navy? Doesn't make sense. Actually, if you are landlocked, you have no access to any water. Why do you need a navy? But I was just curious. I was searching, is there any landlocked country that has a navy? Some of these countries which have split from Russia, they have a navy. So I was wondering, why did they build a navy? The nearest water body is like thousands of kilometers away. And then I got to know that there was an Aral Sea that existed in Russia, which was fed by rivers from all around Russia. And in a span of just 50 years, the Aral Sea, which was 68,000 square kilometers in size, it's actually a lake, was supposed to be the third largest lake on earth. 68,000 square kilometers, that's bigger than many countries, is today reduced to 5,400 square kilometers. Simply. And you know, the kind of disasters it has brought about is unbelievable. Because the oceans and seas are the place where we dump effluents and wastes. So all from those nearby countries have been dumped into the Aral Sea. Now the water is gone, but the wastes have not gone. They're there. They form part of the desert. And now the breeze and winds blow, carry these toxins into the towns and cities. And if you Google and see pictures, you can see in the middle of a desert there's one ship. It's not that there was some plane carrying the ship and it dropped it. It's more fantastic than that. The ship was in the ocean and the ocean dried up. The sea dried up. Therefore it has just come into the bottom. It's there. You can see pictures of more than 200 such ships. The only source of livelihood for people there today is taking people as tourists to these ships and just showing them. That's it. Ghost ships. Middle of the desert, you'll see ships there. That is how this race called humans has impacted the earth. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are, if I go on, it gets demoralizing and depressing. It's just like, oh my God, what have we done? We are worse than any other virus. We've just eaten up the planet. And recent studies by the United Nations show, in the 1950s and 60s in India especially, there was something touted as the American dream. Anybody could go to America and become prosperous and live that dream. The UN says that if India and China decide to live the American dream, we will need at least 3 more Earths to provide resources. 3 more Earths. And already people are talking of colonizing Mars, living there. This is what locusts do, They come, eat a field, kill it and go to the next field. We want to do that. Look out for other planets because Earth is gone. Early in the 1970s itself, Bhagawan, 1960s actually. Ever since in 1968, formally the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organizations came alive. And Swami started giving guidelines on the objectives of the organization. It's so beautiful, Actually, Swami delineates very clearly what is the objective of the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization. He says in 1975, in a discourse during the Second World Conference, Swami starts by saying there's only one caste, the caste of humanity, only one language, the language of the heart, only one religion. And finally, Swami says there's only one God. He's omnipresent, he's Sathya Sai. And everybody claps. Wow. It is very fantastic to listen. Very rarely does Swami speak about himself. And then immediately Swami says, you are all clapping because you are assuming that Sathya Sai is this 5 foot 2 inches frame. Swami says, no, that is not Sathya Sai. One who is Sathya Sai is Sathya Sai. Sathya Sai means one who rests on truth. Swami says, the one who rests on truth is the only God. And what is this truth? That also Swami beautifully explains. Swami says, you look and say this is a solid wall. Why do you say it is a solid wall? Because from this side you can't see what's on the other side. But then you ask your scientists, they will say that the wall is made up of atoms. And these atoms are made up of protons, electrons, neutrons. There is a nucleus and there are electrons. That is one model of the atom. There is later the quantum mechanical model also. But in both the models, what is common is 98% of the atom is empty space. Only 2% or less than 2% of the atom is occupied. And Swami says, this wall is made up of only atoms. And these atoms are 98% empty space. But you call it a solid wall. Why? You should call it empty space, right? Anything more than 50%, that is a majority. By democracy, it should be empty space. But you call it a solid wall. Why? And Swami says, because what appears as truth and what is the truth are entirely different. Swami gives one more example. He says, you sit in a car and you say you are moving. You sit in a cart, bullock cart, and you say you are moving. But you stand or sit here and say you are stationary, you are not moving. Do you know? And Swami doesn't say, do you know? Swami says, you all know that the earth is moving at so many thousand miles per second or so many thousand miles per hour. Swami gives that figure. I forgot that. Swami says, everyone knows that. Everyone knows that the earth is moving around its own axis at this speed. And yet, when somebody asks what you're doing, I'm stationary in this place. I will never say, what I'm doing? Oh God, I'm in a tearing hurry. I'm going at 4,000 miles per hour. Nobody says that. Why? Because what appears to be the truth and what is the truth are different. And then Swami says, there are people from 50 countries who have assembled in this hall, in the Purnachandra Hall, auditorium. At that time, there were people from 50 countries. Today, it's more than 140 countries. Swami says, all of you are one. But you will wonder how. Some of you are tall, some are short, some are dark, some are fair, some are men, some are women. How can all be one? And Swami says, what appears to be the truth and what is the truth are different. And it is to establish this truth that Sathya Sai has come. And it is to establish this truth that I have started the Sathya Sai organizations. The truth that everything is one. Everybody is one. That is the objective with which the Sathya Sai Seva organization was started. But it so happens to us all the time that when the truth is stated, we do not understand what it actually means. For example, the Indian Constitution begins with the preamble. And the preamble is hardly 200 words long. And in the 200 words, it describes everything that is expected of the nation. But then after that, there are millions of words which form the part of the largest constitution on earth. What is the need for so many millions of words? Because the basic truth that is hidden in the preamble, we are not able to understand what it means. Okay, the preamble is there. So somebody will come and ask, so am I allowed to hit another person on the road? The preamble doesn't say that. The preamble says it gives freedom. But you need somebody to explain that your freedom ends where there's a joke of this person who was swinging his umbrella and walking on the road. Somebody says, stop, don't do that. He says, why? It's my freedom. I can swing the umbrella. He says, my dear fellow, your freedom ends where my nose begins. If it touches my nose, I'm going to smash your nose. Your freedom doesn't cover my nose. So, see, all these things, we need further explanation. So, we have a constitution, then there's a legal, there are laws, there are commercial laws, there are so many mercantile laws, there are so many kinds of laws. The books themselves weigh about 1 ton, I think, that many books, so many laws. We need all this because we are not able to understand the basic principle. So too, there's only one truth. The truth is all are one. All are one, that's it. But in order to understand that is how the entire scriptures have come about. The Shastras, the Upanishads, everything is nothing but just dilating further on these. And that is how, Swami too came up with so many instructions for the organization. Because there will be people who will ask, what does Swami say on this? What is this? What should we do this? Because in the beginning of the journey, we need to be spoon-fed. As children, we need rules. Our parents tell, do this, don't do that. Gradually we learn. And therefore, it was in 1980, if I am not mistaken, during the 9th All India Conference, that Bhagawan gave the 9-point code of conduct. It's very beautiful. It's an entire talk in itself. Why one talk? Series of talks in itself. The 9-point code of conduct. If we examine those 9 points, you will see there are points related to the individual sadhana, to societal sadhana, seva, one's responsibility towards the environment, love for God, everything is encapsulated. There are some things for those who love bhakti yoga, who wish to do singing, bhajans, chanting. There are things for the karma yogis, wish to serve, wish to dedicate every act to God. And there is study circles, there's regular reading of literature, which in itself shows that it's not enough if I'm only doing bhakti. If I'm only doing bhajans, I'll do bhajans, it's enough. I'm doing seva, why should I listen to Swami's discourse? Why should I read the literature? I will go and work enough. The problem is, all these, if we do only one, it leads to a lopsided development. I'm just doing seva. I know that it gives me joy, I'm going and helping others. I'm helping so many people. And then suddenly, a time comes when I fall sick and nobody comes to help me. I get disillusioned. What is this? All my life I have served people and today when I need, nobody comes. What is the use of seva? Is seva useless? If we had read the discourses, we would not have got these questions. So you see, karma is reinforced by jnana. Okay, suppose I have read the discourses also. I got to know this is how it is. Karma theory doesn't work immediately. It is not as if I do good and I receive good immediately. It's not as if it's only good that I do in this birth. I've got a baggage to carry. Now I may know all this. But I'll say, so what? Such a complex system of rules. God, you're a terrible guy. You have made such terrible rules. Whatever I do, I'm messed up. Still it leads to frustration. That is where bhakti comes in. That is how Mirabai said, Lord, no problem. I have your name, I have you. I know you will never let go of me. Let anything happen. I will drink poison. I will let them give me lashes on my back. But I'll be happy and smiling. See, when all the three are there, bhakti, karma, jnana, nothing can touch us. It's like having the Air Force, the Army and the Navy. We're fully protected. And that is delineated in the 9-point code of conduct. And in that 9-point code of conduct, forgive me for this elaborate introduction, the 9th point is practice of sealing on desires. which is today's topic. Swami says, you should practice sealing on desires. He does not say annihilate desire. Nor does he say encourage desire. He says put a ceiling on desires. This is very, very interesting and very innovative. I think it's first of its kind that a very practical suggestion for a great Advaitic truth has been given. On the face of it, what does this ceiling on desires mean? Swami says, don't waste food, don't waste money, don't waste energy, don't waste time. That's all it is. Don't waste food, energy, money and time. So this is what Bhagawan gave during a discourse in July 1982. July 1982, this was how Swami delineated and expanded on sealing on desires. And it makes sense, right? There's an epitaph of a person, an anonymous person, on which it reads, epitaph is a gravestone on which they write, on the gravestone they write some message or something, basically what that life stands for. And an unknown anonymous epitaph is very beautiful. It says, when I was young and had all the energies in me, I thought I will change the world. As I grew to my teenage years, I realized that the world is a very big place. I settled upon transforming my country. As I took on the responsibilities of adulthood and got married, I realized that even the country is a very huge place. I thought, let me just change my town. And as I realized how helpless I was in my own family, I thought, hell to the hell with the town, let me at least change my family. Today on my deathbed, I realize that I have not been able to change my family also. But I realized that if only I had changed myself, maybe by personal example I could have changed my family. Maybe with their help I could have inspired the town. And by presenting a model town, could have brought some change in the country. Who knows, one day I might have transformed the world. Change begins with the individual. Without stating that, Bhagawan brought out the Sealing on Desires program. And he said, you do this. Just ensure that, he didn't tell don't eat food. He didn't tell don't earn money. He didn't say don't speak. He just said don't waste food. Don't waste money. Don't waste time. Don't waste energy. And this is a matter of self-audit. If we check ourselves, we will see how we are floundering on all the four fronts. Of course, I may not be actually taking food to the dustbin and throwing it. But Swami says overeating is also waste of food. Your body doesn't need. If we are putting on weight and growing bulky because of excessive eating, of course, there are different problems, hormonal problems, different things. Leaving those aside, if we are just slave to the tongue, to the taste, junk food, that's a waste of food. You don't need it. We don't need it. There's somebody else who needs it much more. That's a waste of food. Waste of energy. Yes, maybe I don't even exercise. Where do I waste energy? But then, subtle ways. Bhagavan says that even watching television, waste of energy, more than an amount of time. Of course, you need all work and no play makes Jack, makes Arvind, makes everybody dull boys and dull girls. But that doesn't mean I indulge in 5 hours of television. It becomes televisham, Swami says. In a discourse in 1983 at Abbotsbury in Madras, Chennai, current day Chennai, Swami states this. He says, look, the proper study of mankind is man. Swami says, look at your own body. If your body temperature goes to 97 degrees, you get chills, hypothermia. You desperately rush and do things to increase your body temperature. But the minute it goes to 99 or 100, oh God, again problem. The hyperthermia, extra. You have to bring it down. Swami says, somebody speaks very softly, you can't hear. Somebody screams, your ear pains. So there is nothing like good or bad in the world, it's all about limits. Anything in limits is good. More than the limits it goes, it becomes bad. That is what even Buddha discovered. He was born a prince. He had everything in life, but he was not happy. He had an excess of anything. He just has to state it. The word has to drop out of his mouth and his father Shuddhodana will get. But he is not happy. And in order to counter that, he leaves the kingdom and goes into extreme. He fasts, he starves the body. And then he says, no, and that is how Buddha comes up with the middle path. Starving the body is not the solution. Pampering the body is not the solution. That is why it is not no desires, it is not fulfilled desires. It is sealing on desires. It is the middle path. Everything has to be in moderation. Anything that is not in moderation is bad. Recently there was a book, a novel series, a trilogy called the Shiva trilogy, written by an IIM, an Indian Institute of Management graduate who was bored with his corporate life. He took up writing and he wrote this book. It is his own imagination of how Shiva from a normal tribal person became God. He writes so beautifully in that. He writes, the story goes like this. It's about a magic potion which will give you endless life. And because it is a magic potion, people start making it more and more. See, I'm trying to condense a story of 1500 pages into 2 minutes. So I'm cutting out all the details. But basically, as people produce more and more, the same thing which was supposed to be beneficial starts becoming harmful. And he brings out the Trinity. He says, Brahma is the creator of good. And because that is good, Vishnu sustains it and the good grows. But how much? It grows to a point after which it starts becoming bad. That is when Shiva has to come and destroy. That is what has happened in humanity. For example, plastic. When plastic came, it was a magical thing. Very cheap. Very strong. No fungus affects it. No termites eat it. It's waterproof. It's amazing. It's magic. And plastic production began. Do you know today there's something called, you can Google this, something called the Pacific Garbage Patch. It is an island of plastic garbage that the ocean current from around the world have generated and put in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. This island of garbage measures at its biggest size 400 into 700 kilometers. 400 kilometers long, 700 kilometers wide, plastic garbage. Plastic is a poison today. That's what happens. Anything starts off good, up to a point it's good, beyond the point it's bad. And that is why Swami says, have moderation. Well, usually people in the Satsang hall expect that there will be one beautiful Swami story coming. And just to keep you engrossed, let me say that I have got a fantastic Swami story. But in order to understand the beautiful meaning of that experience and episode, we just need to understand all these. Learn from nature, Swami says. See, if we see nature, nature doesn't try for perfection actually. Swami gives the example. He says, look at a tree. It produces 10,000 seeds. Why does it do that? It could have invested its time and energy in protecting 10 seeds. Put a poisonous coat around each seed, put 5 thorns, nobody can touch that seed. So wherever the seed falls, it's going to grow because no animal can eat it, no bird can eat it. And evolution could have made the tree produce 10 well-protected seeds. But no. The tree produces 10,000 seeds because Swami says the birds have to eat. The bees have to have their honey. You need 10,000 flowers from which come seeds, from which about 1% will grow, it's enough. The tree feels 1% is enough for me, rest you all can take. If only we can do that with our own resources, time and energy. This is what I need for myself, rest I can give. Because that is how nature prospers, that is what nature teaches. But we are interested in making it perfect. For example, Google announces a beautiful way to enhance profit. It says, we have designed softwares that can run cars and trucks without a driver. It's fantastic, Why? The advantages are multiple. Now, if you have a driver, you need to have two drivers to drive the truck, because each driver can drive only 8 hours a day. Because he has to have his food, he has to go to the bathroom, he has to take rest. So they drive in shifts. Even if two drivers are driving a truck, they will drive for 16 hours a day. A driverless truck can run for 24 hours a day. And he not paid salaries to the drivers, because it's a software. I just had to do a one-time payment of the software. And then what happens? Therefore, we are saving so much, that much profit, that much our shareholders will benefit. Isn't shareholder wealth maximization the object of Google, objective of any company? I am doing what is good. I am not selfish, I am benefiting all my shareholders. It's like nature telling, I will protect my seeds. I will make 10 seeds so that I need not waste my time, energy making 10,000 seeds. What we don't realize is in America alone, there are nearly about 100,000 truck drivers. What about them? You throw them out of job, what will they do? Everywhere that's what is happening. When machine replaces man, of course, we benefit a lot. But then, what about them? They don't have money, they see their family suffering, 10 days over, 20 days over. Can you blame them for just going and breaking through a departmental store, picking some food and running away? Today it worked for food, tomorrow why not pick up something else? Why should they be so prosperous and flaunt their wealth? Meanwhile, we have people who build not only a Mercedes-Benz, but a golden Mercedes-Benz with every button in diamonds. Wear a sari which is having 150 diamonds. Flaunt. The rich flaunt, so the poor will covet. And Swami says, you cannot have islands of prosperity surviving amidst oceans of misery. There will be a tsunami which will wipe out this island. That's what is happening in many countries. The whole society just picks up arms, comes and thrashes anybody just because they're rich. And then they'll wonder, what did I do wrong? Is it wrong to earn? Why are they doing this? I had been to Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad criminal offense is so high. Crime rate is so high. Every home I went is having those cameras, dogs, automatic gates. Because they are possibly islands of prosperity. And I was told, you don't walk out in the street. You'll always go in the car. I had gone there to deliver a few talks. And I was saying, why not? No, don't go into that region. It's terrible. You don't know what will happen. Kidnappings take place there. In fact, in one of the homes where I went, the person's son had been kidnapped for a ransom. If, in the name of enhancing a few, if the rest are neglected, they may try desperate means. I'm not saying that they're justified in kidnapping, but isn't there something wrong we have done as a society? Because today we say we have the greatest ever food production, but we have 1 billion people who are hungry on a day-to-day basis. 1 billion, the highest ever in the history of mankind. What kind of prosperity is this? It has to begin at the individual. It has to begin at the individual level. And in 1983, in that Abbotsbury discourse, Bhagawan made one more important point. What happened was, in 1982, since this Ceiling on Desires program came in place, everybody thought, you know what we will do? If I want to buy 3 saris, I'll buy only 2 saris. If I want to eat 3 pizzas, I'll eat only 2 pizzas. And that money I will save and we'll donate it to Sathya Sai Central Trust. They can use it for seva. That was a plan, and it was launched nationwide, worldwide. Cut your desires, save money, donate to the trust. And they brought this plan to Swami, and Swami was very upset. And that was the discourse in which Bhagawan spoke, and he said, do you think that the ceiling on Swami mentioned, Swami said, do you think that Ceiling on Desires program is a way to enhance the trust funds? Oh my God, no. I don't need anything. In fact, during the 60th birthday, all the checks were returned. Don't take it back. Ceiling on desires, my dear people, is good for you, Swami said. It's good for each individual. You do it for your benefit. I am interested in your benefit. I want you to do it for yourself, not for enhancing the coffers here. Do whatever you want with that money. Do whatever you want with that food. But it is a lifestyle. It is an attitude. It is not about donating it here. Bhagawan made it very clear. In fact, I remember Miss Geeta Mohan Ram, she was narrating an episode when she got an interview in Vrindavan. I don't remember which district in Karnataka, whether it's Hasan or Shimoga, there were these devotees who were telling Swami, you should please visit. Those were the days when Swami did whirlwind visits all over Karnataka, all over Andhra Pradesh. So they're saying, Swami, you should please come here. In that group was this lady who used to do Narayan Seva on a regular basis. And every now and then she was saying, Swami, in the Narayan Seva, this is what we do. In the Narayan Seva, this is the number of people I feed. She went on speaking like this. And suddenly Swami got up, walked inside, came out with a red bag. This lady was shocked. Swami said, this is the rice, right? Which you do Narayan Seva with? She had a bag like that at home in which she would keep the rice. And Swami opened that and said, what is this rice? What is the rice that you have food, you eat? How much does it cost? Swami, 15 rupees per kg. How much does this rice cost? Swami, 4 rupees per kg. Is this the Narayan Seva you do? Is this the rice you feed Swami? In front of a photograph, you keep all the delicacies as Naivedyam to the Lord. Why? Because you are selfish. You know that you will only be eating it later on. But when it comes to feeding me, you give a substandard quality of rice. Is this Narayan Seva? In fact, in the Sai Blossom store, there is this 50th birthday DVD. In that there is also an audio CD of 9 discourses which have not been broadcast anywhere else before, because we thought they were lost until we discovered them in our archives. It is in that discourse only I quoted that Swami saying the objective of Satsang organization. In one of those 9 discourses, Swami also says how Narayan Seva should be done. Swami says, when you want to do Narayan Seva, when you are having your food daily, think that Bhagawan has come as a beggar to your door. And the translator is not translating. Swami says, tell Swami is a beggar at your door. What will you give Swami? Keep that aside. Every day keep it aside. And that is what is Narayan Seva, because Narayana is me. It is a feeling that doesn't mean that, of course, if however poor I am, if Swami is visiting my house, that one day I will bring the best delicacies. But if Swami was to reside in my house on a daily basis, what we do, whatever we eat, we will give Swami. I might not be able to afford expensive dishes for Swami, but definitely I will give Swami what I eat. Swami is saying, just that's all you do. I am not saying everybody must buy food from 5-star hotels and do Narayan Seva. What you eat, give that. Many things we don't realize. Before the Sathya Sai Grama Seva started, there used to be a Narayan Seva in the stadium. And I remember the first experience, it was such a moving experience for me, because the gents galleries that are there in the ground, under that they would put mats. And on the mats there will be mountains of rice. Because you will be feeding about 20,000 people, 10,000 people. So you need that much rice. There is no way you can store in vessels. You will need 6,000-7,000 vessels. So they will spread mats and put rice heaps and again cover them with mats, with one kind of sheet. That's it. Like how we see piles of sand and cement, you see piles of food. And the people would come, open it and put it into the tray and go. And when Bhagawan came, this was in the year 1998, November. That was the last ever Narayan Seva. Because after that, that was the second last, because after that Swami started the Gram Seva. Swami said, people need not come here. I will send food to their houses. So that time when I had the camera, I was standing there, I was taking photographs. I was really shocked by what I saw. I was stunned. Swami gets down from the car. There is a carpet. There is a silver glass of water for him, everything. And there is a silver plate. And Bhagawan would insist on that silver plate, the same food which is going to be served to the people would be put on the plate. But you know what Swami does? Swami walks in, just lifts the mat, picks it up from there, eats it and says it's good. It's very, very touching, He need not have done that, but he didn't eat from the silver plate. So it's not, we might not be able to feed 20,000 people, but it's about the quality, the feeling with which we serve, the feeling with which we do it, that matters. And God is always happy. There's a story of Kannappa, a tribal person who wanted to make an offering to Shiva. He used to hunt for a living. And the story goes, the legend goes, that he would get cooked meat. And in his headband, he will put flowers, which he has to offer for worship. And then he would see people doing Abhishekam. How to do Abhishekam? He was a poor, he didn't know. So he has to get water where? He doesn't have any vessel, nothing. He was a tribal. So he would carry water in his mouth. So he enters the Shiva temple and on the lingam he pours water from his mouth. And puts flowers from his head and offers that cooked meat and says, I have roasted this in honey for you, Lord, specially. And every morning the temple priest comes and says, oh God, what is this? He cleans the whole thing, does nice worship and goes. Every day he sees this. And legend goes that Mother Parvati asks Lord Shiva, Lord, whose offering do you like most? The clean and beautiful offerings of this priest or this uncouth cooked meat? He's offering meat to you, Shiva. Doesn't he know that you like vegetarian food? Shiva says, the intention behind the action is more important than the action. It is only out of ignorance. Kannappa is doing this, and I need not tell you anything, I will show you. What happens is, when the priest is worshipping, he suddenly sees that one of the eyes of the Shivalingam, the one eye opens up like this. And he says, oh Lord, one eye you have opened. I am so blessed, today is a beautiful day. And as the priest is rejoicing, it starts bleeding. Blood starts oozing out of the eye. And he says, oh my God, what is this? This is some unholy thing. What is this? He just runs away from it. That is when Kannappa walks in with his meat and his flowers and water in the mouth. And he sees that and, Lord, what happened? Your eyes are, if your eye is giving trouble, take my eye. And he immediately with an arrow plucks out one eye and offers that to the Lord. He says he puts it on that. Shiva does not stop at that. Huh? The other eye now opens and starts bleeding. Now Kannappa is worried. He is not worried because he has to give his other eye. He is thinking, Lord, if I pluck out his other eye, how will I know where to place it? And he takes his foot and puts it on the eye of Shiva, so that he knows that under my foot is Shiva's eye, plucks out the other eye and he is planting it. That is when Shiva appears, gives back his eyes, and today he is revered as a saint, he is worshipped. Kannappa is he is a Alvar. Nayanmar. Yeah, Alvars are Vishnu devotees. But that is how the Lord sees the feeling behind the act. And I think, now the time is ripe for the episode that I was promising about a student. Swami used to often, this dates back more than 2 decades before, Swami used to speak to this student and he had decided that he wanted to stay with Swami always. And Swami also encouraged him and he became a waiting boy. Waiting boys are those who will complete their education and just wait. That's all. What do? I wait. You wait, yes. Waiting for what? Waiting for my Lord. Do you want Swami to give you a job? If he wishes, he'll give. Then what? What you'll do? Morning they get up, they attend the prayers in the mandir, go back, have their breakfast, come for darshan, go back, wash their clothes, have lunch, sleep, get up, come to mandir, night have a Parayanam session, think of Swami, go to bed. That's it. You're wasting your life. It's a very, very tough thing to be a waiting boy. This is the kind of advice everybody would give. 2 years you have waited, nothing has happened, go work something. So he had decided to wait, and when he is waiting, Swami came and told him, enough, your parents have supported you enough, don't take anything from them, I will support you. And Swami would give him money. And whatever Swami gives is enough. He is happy. He doesn't say, Swami, give me a hike, give me a rise. Today I wish to see a movie. See, automatically, that is what I feel. He was possibly forced into sealing on desires, but that is how it is. Whatever we get, if we take it as God giving, how we will be treating it reverentially. I remember when Swami gave us white clothes, he gave 500 rupees and told, use it for stitching. And I thought, that 500 rupees now adorns my altar. I thought, what? The Lord has given me 500 rupees and I want to give it to a tailor? No way. Just imagine, we forget that everything that we have is given to us by the Lord. The different ways. If every one of us think like that, will we ever be able to go to a gambling casino? Will we be able to bet? Will we be able to, Even, throw away money in partying and enjoying and whatever. If we firmly believe that every rupee, every dollar is given to us by Swami. In fact, I remember I'll come back to this episode because I'm remembering another episode where one of the elders who had the privilege of walking behind Swami, assisting Swami for almost a decade, he was narrating how in the darshan line somebody gave a letter to Swami, after which, as Swami walked ahead, this person told this elder, be careful of that letter, right? It has a check. It has a check, it's a very valuable one, so let Swami be little, be careful, don't just burn it off and throw it off or whatever, The minute he said that, Swami who was ahead turned around, picked up one envelope and threw it back and said, give that back. So that's it. That person got back his check. Swami walks ahead, and as he's walking ahead, he again picks up one letter and gives it to this elder and says, keep this in your pocket. He keeps it in his pocket and he walks in. Swami finishes the darshan, goes into the interview room and then asks the elder, where's that letter that I gave you? Take it out. He takes it out, open it. Swami, it is for you. No, you open it. He opens it. What is there inside? Inside that, when you make any deposit in a bank, they'll give you a counterfoil. The deposit amount, that foil remains with them. A counterfoil stamped by the bank that, you have made this deposit. This person has made a 10 rupee deposit into the central trust. And the counterfoil he has given it to Swami, saying that Swami, in case the bank is not giving, you can show this. And Swami said, that person has not had 2 meals today so that he can offer this as his gratitude to Swami. And Swami said, when I'm paying your salaries, it is that kind of money that I'm giving you. Pure money it is. That is invaluable. So don't count your salary by the numbers, the quality of money that you're getting. It will ensure that you'll never have a lack any time in your life. And I can say that with all confidence. I might have earned only 10% of what the world outside says that you can possibly earn. But the amount of satisfaction I have is 10 times more than what satisfaction that money can give. So for Swami, it's always been about quality. And that is why, for Swami's sake. So this boy, whatever Swami gives, he lives on that. Doesn't ask anything else. This time it is less. Sometimes Swami will give 300 rupees. Sometimes Swami will give 500 rupees. Doesn't matter. Whatever Swami gives, it's enough. I live within that. I will eat less. Whatever. I will travel less. I will not go out anywhere. That is how he was living. Once Swami told him, you go home and come. He had to travel quite a distance in India. Swami told him, don't ask parents for money at any cost. And don't tell them that I have told you like this. Because it should not be that Swami is a villain, You go and tell that actually dad, I want, but Swami has told me not to take. So don't tell, but don't. I will take care of you. I have told you I'll take care of you. So this boy, when he went back, he did not receive any, and his parents, first of all, rarely the boy comes home. And now they want to shower everything on him and he's saying no for everything. Finally, what happened was his father he insisted and bought him a return ticket to Parthi when he had to return. Now when he went to give back, he said, no, shut up. This is the way you deal with your father. You're giving back money for the ticket. You just take the ticket and go there. He thought, okay, it's fine. He comes to Parthi and Swami is upset. This boy had the privilege of sitting in between the bhajan hall door and the interview room door. Another reason why I'm sharing this episode is because people often say this person is so lucky, he was so close to God. But living close to Swami is always like living close to the fire. Little extra, you'll burn yourself. It requires great devotion, great love, great dedication and great wisdom to maintain the distance where you're constantly receiving the warmth but not getting burnt. Now, he was there, sitting right there at the interview room door, but Swami is not looking at him. It is worse than sitting somewhere in the darshan lines and not being able to give a letter to Swami. Swami walks within 2 inches of you daily but doesn't look at you, ignores you. And he knows that Swami is upset because he took a ticket from his father. And now what happens? Because Swami is upset, Swami doesn't give him the money. I mean, it's not that I won't give you money, it's just that I don't talk to you now. Now he's in a dilemma. What should he do? He doesn't have money. He is not working anywhere. He is waiting here. He doesn't know if he can start working because he has to receive instructions. Swami is not looking at him. And now, if he takes money from his parents, he feels he'll be committing the crime the second time now. So he just decides to cut away one meal a day. Has only 2 meals per day. And days pull on. And then, how many? 1 week, 2 weeks, and then he says, now I can't afford 2 meals a day. So what I'll do is, once a day let me have buttermilk and water, fill my stomach with that. 1 meal I'll have a day. And that's what he starts doing. After some time, still Swami is upset. Just imagine the situation, sitting right there in the front, being ignored, but you are very hungry. The body is starving. The mind is going haywire and giving so many ideas. He doesn't. And then his next resort, during festival days, during those occasions when Swami gives prasadam, Swami, just pray, Swami, let me get at least 2, let me get at least 3. So I can eat 1 laddu today, 1 I can keep for tomorrow. And when hunger became too much, he could not bear it. There's no money, he can't buy food. He doesn't want to ask what to do. It's unbelievable but true. He would wait secretly in the canteen. Because he was waiting, he also used to serve in the canteen. He would serve. It looks so simple actually. He is serving the food. Why not just serve one in a plate and eat it off? But this boy was made of some strong metal. He would go to the washing area and from the used plates just eat off that food. Eat that food. What is being wasted? Because he has no money to buy. And this is how he spent almost 20 days eating that food. Speaking of food, I was shocked that some places, some of the so-called very posh, modern, hygienic bakeries and restaurants, food which is little stale, they just throw it off. No, we don't. And in countries like in the Middle East, where I had been, it was shocking because that stale food you are not allowed to do seva with also. It's not stale as such, it's 1 day old. At my home, we keep it in the refrigerator, eat it over 2 days. I know some of my relatives in US, where Indian food is not available in some places, they make sambar, they keep it in the fridge, eat it over 4 days. I'm sorry, I get carried away. They eat it over 4 days. But here, you're supposed to discard it. But in countries like the Middle East, you're not even allowed to give that away to anybody else. You die hungry, but don't eat stale food. Okay, your thing is good. It's like Swami saying, give the highest quality food to everyone. That is good. But why do you make so much food then? Why do we make so much food? It is shocking. You know why they make so much? Because the shelves there have to be fully stocked. You can't have a half-stocked shelf in the morning. It's an insult. What is this sense of pride? Swami says, Ma kuru dhana jana yavvana garvam harati nimeshat kala sarvam. Don't have pride on your youth. Swami says, don't have pride on dhana jana yavvana, on wealth, on your youth, on your influence. Because in 1 second, time can take it away. We are having pride in our shells. We want to keep our shelf looking full, so we make extra buns, extra scones, extra cakes. And we throw it at the end of the day. Now imagine while there is tons of food being thrown away like this, there's 1 billion hungry every day in the world. Now this boy is eating like this, and then a person who works in the canteen, a manager, he sees this and he knows this boy and he says, what are you doing? He's shocked. Because this is the boy who sits at Swami's feet there, at the interview room door. And what is this? He has tears in his eyes. He says, I'll get you food. He says, no sir. Don't get me. No, I'm fine. Now see? How is it? See, this is what happens when we have Swami as our top priority. We may think that he is lacking basic needs, but he didn't feel. He said, no, I'm fine. Because Swami is more important than this. At the end of 1 month, when he's sitting outside, one more student who was with Bhagawan, assisting him, he comes and tells, Swami has told that you should come inside the interview room today. And he's surprised. And he says, Swami says that he wants to grant you the privilege of serving food for him. Now, on the face of it, it looks wonderful, huh? But just imagine for Swami, all the kinds of delicacies come. And here you are hungry, eating waste food, and you're going and serving that to Swami, right? And that's what happened. That day he was called in, and Swami is there. A big silver plate has been placed in front of Swami, and he's serving all these. And Swami says, put more of that, put this some more, put this. And they're saying, this is amazing because never Swami takes so much. You must be really blessed that he's eating so much. Swami puts everything and then picks the plate and tells, have food, this is for you. And from that day, for almost 8 years after that, he had the singular privilege, after Swami finishes his food, whatever is on Swami's plate goes to only this boy. For 10 years he served Swami after that. Today he is very well settled. He is doing very well. He is married and yes, he is prosperous in all material terms. Sealing on desires does not mean living like a beggar or living a frugal life. It means understanding that the hand cannot prosper if the leg is suffering. The hand has to do its best to alleviate the suffering of the leg, not as a service. Because the hand can't be happy if the leg is sad. If the leg is not able to walk, the hand can't travel where it wants. That is the connection Swami says. That is why Swami says there's only one truth that the Sathya Sai organizations have to propagate, which is all of us are one. And therefore, when I'm feeding a Narayana, it is not because I'm going to do service. I'm going to produce in my annual Sathya Sai report that I have fed 10,000 people. Not for that. It is because his hunger is my hunger. I couldn't bear it, so I satiated his hunger. And therefore, when I satiate his hunger, I satiate it with the food that I used to satiate my hunger. Because it is the same. He and me are same. And it is with that spirit that Bhagawan brought the Sealing on Desires program. And it was in that discourse that Swami clearly said that this is not for societal uplift or environmental benefit or for benefiting the trust or the organization. It's for your own individual benefit. But do you know, dear children, that when you benefit, automatically society benefits, nature benefits. Because Swami says, Vyashti, Samashti, Srushti, Parameshti. Individual, society, nature, God. The finger is a part of the palm. Individual is a part of society. Cell is a part of the tissue. The society is part of nature, just as tissue is part of the organ. And nature is a part of God, just organ is a part of the human body. The cell has to be perfect, then only will the tissue be good. But in return for the cell being perfect, the tissue provides protection for the cell. The cell takes care of the organ takes care of the cell. If the cell goes cancerous and then says that the organ is bad, who is to be blamed? There might be a neighboring cell and say, I am a good cell, but why is the organ not behaving fine? There are 5 cancerous cells, organ suffers. So when the organ suffers, I may also not be able to take care of, even the other individual healthy cells may also suffer. That's what happens in cancer. That's how it is in society. We see a backlash of society and say, why is this terrorist kidnapping my children? I didn't do anything. You didn't, but sadly we are part of a society which has done. Which is part of society which has individuals who have not done. That's how it is. You see nature striking back today. They say gales, the earthquakes, the tsunamis, the typhoons have become more severe than they were before. Because it's part of the hierarchy, it all boils down to the individual. Unless the individual is good, the society can't be good, nature can't be good, and you can't say you love God. How can you love God if you don't love nature and society? That is what Swami wants to bring in by this seva and sealing on desires. Just feel for everyone. And nobody is exempt from this. A person may be well endowed. He may say, every month I contribute 30,000 rupees, it's enough. No. That is because you are getting 1 lakh, so you are giving 30,000. Sealing on desires is for your benefit. At the same time, some may say that, I am finding it hard to make ends meet and finance my own daughter's education. How can I give anything to society? No. We are not giving to society for societal benefit. We are giving to society for our own benefit. And whether we are rich or poor, well endowed or not, we need our benefit. In fact, I'll conclude with this one episode. When a cook had to be selected for the super specialty hospital when it began functioning in 1991, this is a story that I heard from the warden of the Brindavan campus, Ravi Kumar sir, he narrated this. He was saying that cook wanted to establish a good life for himself. He wanted something like 1,500 rupees per month salary, which was decent in those days, which is what he was expecting to get if he works as a cook in a 3-star restaurant. And Swami tells, you tell him I will pay 300 rupees per month. 300? 1,500, 300. 1/5. And Swami says, but tell him I will take care of him. And that person went on to say how Swami took care of him. He said, it's shocking, it's beyond logic. We don't understand. Truth is stranger than fiction. Why do we save money? Usually in India we save money because we have to get our daughters married, we have to finance our son's education, we have to build one house and then die. That's how it is. He says, my son's education was taken care of. When my daughter's marriage came, he says, Swami just gave me a bag. It had all the jewelry necessary. What I would have spent all my life to earn so that I can spend on buy jewelry, Swami just handed it to me and on the wedding day and said, use it. And he said, on the day of his retirement, he said, today my daughter is in a very good family. Both my sons are well established. They have got their own house. I have got a house on my own. Even if I had taken up a job for 2,000 rupees per month outside, I would not be half as endowed as this. But when the time came, just because he was a person from the lower strata of society not having enough, Swami did not say, he need not do sealing on this. No, you also cut yours. You also cut yours. Today, Greece underwent its elections and they are protesting against this stringent establishment of what they call as austerity measures. Greek economy had collapsed and therefore all the countries lent money and they want back interest. Imagine. If our mother is sick or father is sick, do we say that I'm going to serve you, but after you get fine, you better give me back in interest? That's what we did to Greece. We have given them loan and said you pay back at this interest rate. And since you are a high risk country, we are going to increase the interest rate. And therefore the taxation in the country is crazy. People are earning and getting nothing at all. And they're protesting and the new government is coming and saying, you get out. We will throw the euro out, we will start back our drachma, our currency. That is going to destabilize the entire region and they're putting more pressure on Greece. If you just tell Greece, you take this money, I know you're in trouble. You just return no need of any interest. Just repay the loan enough. Of course, that means what? I have to, instead of owning 3 cars, I have to own 2 cars. It's fine. If we're done, then the whole thing would survive. That is what nature teaches us. You have to sacrifice. Everything. Swami says, the river flows for others, tree gives fruits for others, cow gives milk for others. What do we as people give? Nothing. It is the way it survives, There's a beautiful Hindi song which says, Madhuvan khushbu deta hai, sagar savan deta hai, जीना उसका जीना है, जो औरों को जीवन देता है. The forests give scent. The ocean gives the rainy season. Just imagine if rains were not there, how much we would have to spend. Life is a life which lives for others. And it says, Suraj na ban paaye to ban ke deepak jalta chal. You might not be able to be the sun, be a lamp at least enough. Because it's the quality that matters, it's the light that matters, not the amount. So that is Bhagawan's philosophy behind the Sealing on Desires program. It's not about accumulating wealth, resources and giving it off. It's about improving our own lives by realizing that we are just part of this super organism called the universe. We are all cells in that. And if any cell is troubled, one day it will hit us. The cancer might strike the breast, the ovary, it might strike the testis, it might strike the skin, it might strike the lung. But when it kills the entire organism. Cancer is cancer wherever it is. And we will be able to feel that only if we feel that we are all part of the same big organism. If we realize the truth for which the entire Sathya Sai organization has been established, the truth that all are one and we appear as different only because what appears to be the truth is different from what is the truth. I would like to conclude by praying to Swami that we have the wisdom to see this oneness in all and then make selflessness, compassion and love part of our life. Because by doing that, we are not benefiting anybody else or anything else. We are benefiting our own selves, because there is nothing else other than us in this whole universe. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.